Hello, my name is Helen Muyu, and in this presentation I am going to discuss the differences between wireless and wired networks, as well as address the various security risks associated with wireless networks. So this presentation has been divided into 4 areas of focus. The first one, we are going to look at the differences between wired and wireless networks and how the OSI model differ at the physical layer and the data link layer. Second, we are going to look at comparisons of security risk on a wireless network versus a wired network. Third, description of the unique security and operational attributes in the wireless environment and their effects on the network communications. 4. Examination of the mitigation strategies and tools that can be implemented to lessen the security risks associated with wireless networks. So let's begin by defining what a wired and a wireless network is. A wireless network is a configuration that operates on radio frequency or microwave signals. It allows wireless-enabled devices to communicate with one another and the internet. These wireless-enabled devices include laptops and phones, among others. On the other hand, a wired network is a configuration that comprises of cables which establish a connection to the internet and other devices on the network. Here, data is transmitted from one device to another or over the internet using Ethernet cables. Next, we are going to see the differences between wireless and wired networks in terms of performance, security, installation, and other differences listed here. So we are going to begin with the wired network. The wired network has a high speed and bandwidth of up to 100 megabytes per second. It is difficult to install and requires more time because of the cabling involved. It has limited network coverage. The transmission medium include the Ethernet, copper, and optical wires. It is less costly and because cables are not very expensive. It uses applications such as the LAN and MAN, where LAN stands for the local area network and MAN stands for the metropolitan area network, as well as the WAN, which is the wide area network. It uses the IEEE 802.3 technology. And lastly, it is secure as it is only accessible with a physical cable connection. When it comes to wireless network, it has low speed of up to 54 megabytes per second. However, this can change with technologies such as LTE. It is easy to install and requires less time. All you have to do is plug and play. It has unlimited network coverage. It uses radio waves and infrared to transmit data. It's slightly expensive than the wired network because of the equipment used, such as the router and the adapters. It also uses the wireless LAN and wireless personal area network. And it uses also the IEEE 802.11a and IEEE 802.11n technologies, which are the latest in the market. And when it comes to security, the wireless networks are less secure because the signals can be easily intercepted as they cover a wide area. So anyone can just, if they're not properly secured, anyone can intercept the signals and get into the network. Below shows, this diagram shows an illustration of what I've just explained. It's just a basic illustration of the differences between a wired and a wireless network. As you can see here, we have the signal transmitting data, and here it uses the wire or the cable to transmit data between devices. So how does the OSI model differ at the physical and the data link layers? Layer 1 and 2 standards are defined as Ethernet standards. The physical layer describes the way data is transmitted on the network medium, and it comprises of various components such as cables, adapters, and wireless radio frequencies. The data link layer defines how these streams of bits are put together into readable or manageable chunks of data. All wireless LANs function on the physical and the data link layer to format and control the data to comply with 802.11 standards. This shows an illustration of what I've just explained earlier on the different functions of the data link and the physical layer, and it shows where the physical layer, where the frame is encoded into a signal at the physical layer, and then the data link has the logical link control and the media access control, where it identifies the network layer protocol and marks the beginning and the ending of the frame. Wireless network versus wired network security risk. In general, wireless networks are less secure than wired networks because signals can be easily intercepted by hackers if the proper encryption technologies such as the WPA2 are not put in place. WPA2 stands for the Wi-Fi Protected Access 2, which is a form of data encryption in a wireless network. Wired networks are considered more secure because in order to gain access to the Ethernet connection, one will need to have a cable and a router. It is impossible to hack without a physical connection, and hence chances of unauthorized access are minimal. When correct ports are activated to monitor the network for suspicious activity, a wired connection with security technologies installed reduces security threats. Next, we are going to look at the wireless network security risks and their impact on network communications. There are several threats, but we are going to focus on 5, which include the misconfigured or incomplete security configurations. Then we have denial of service attack. Then we have eavesdropping and passive capturing, rogue access points, and device theft. We are going to look into each of these threats in detail in the next slides. So here, when it comes to the misconfigurations or incomplete security configurations, this involves failing to implement all security controls for a server or web application, or implementing security controls but with errors. They include weak paraphrases, default SSID usage, or poor firewall policies. These poorly executed configurations can open a network to malicious attacks, such as attackers stealing an SSID and connecting it to gain access to the network resources. Next, we are going to look at the denial of service attack. Because wireless devices operate using the RF signals, signal interference from devices such as microwave ovens or photocopy machines may cause errors or completely prevent transmission between a wireless device and an access point. Additionally, attackers can likewise use intentional RF interference to flood the RF spectrum with enough interference or viruses to prevent transmission of data to and from the network, which is also called jamming. Rogue access point is an authorized AP that allows an attacker to bypass many network security configurations, exposing the network to malicious attacks. Then we have the fourth one, which is passive capturing or eavesdropping, which involves attackers getting within range of a target wireless LAN, then capturing data or listening in on communications, which they can later use to gain access and compromise the network. Lastly, we have device theft or loss, which is very common, where handheld devices such as PDAs and laptops can be easily stolen or lost due to their small size and portability. An authorized party can compromise such devices to obtain sensitive information. Mitigation strategies and tools. A mitigation strategy is taking steps to reduce risk in a business or organization. In this scenario, there are various ways to implement these measures. They include: 1. Use a centrally managed wireless LAN that features periodic audits and coordinated updates to minimize configuration issues. 2nd, implement availability monitoring with real-time alerting to detect denial of service attacks and gauge their impact. Also, advanced intrusion prevention and detection systems, which combine firewalls, content filtering, and load balancing, will enable consistent network protection to prevent the denial of service attack from occurring. Encrypt all traffic over the wireless LAN using the two-factor authentication for users accessing critical data, restricting LAN access by role, least privilege, utilizing 802.11x for key management and authentication standards to minimize eavesdropping and passive capturing. In the case of rogue access points, use proper wireless LAN authentication methods such as Extensible Authentication Protocol, EAP, and encryption methods such as the WPA2. Rogue AP system detection can also be installed. Also, conducting extensive surveys regularly to determine the location of all access points can really help in controlling or minimizing this risk. Lastly, implement policies and practice to have employees immediately report a misplaced or stolen device so that it can be remotely locked, given a password change, or wiped clean. And that is the end of my presentation. Thank you very much, and thank you for listening.